Good afternoon, it's Erin Lefave here from Full Circle Herbals, and I'm doing a What's in My Teacup live chat today. So here we go. Here's my teacup. I think it belonged to my grandmother, and they look like little asters on there, and I'll show you what I've got in there. Let's see, are they asters? No, maybe they are in the chrysanthemum family too. I don't know. Anyway, older cup here. What's on the bottom? No labels. All right, so then I've got this cool new teapot that I found at a thrift store, actually. It's really cool. Makes more than one cup, so that's helpful. It's very bright, this light here. Okay, so what's in my teacup? What am I drinking? Well, it's kind of pinkish purple color. And this is a brand that I started out drinking, and then when I started to learn about herbs, I started going for some different kinds of brands that are, I don't know, just a little bit more natural maybe. So I am drinking Celestial Seasonings Acacia Mango Zinger. I'll tell you what's in it. I hesitated to buy it because a lot of times these ones will have, like, they'll say natural flavors or even artificial flavors in there, and I want to drink herbal tea just to have the herbs in it, not any artificial flavors or natural flavors. So, but when I read the list of what's on here, I was really intrigued to try it. So this one has hibiscus petals, the flower from the hibiscus, rose hips, orange peel, natural acacia berry and mango flavors with other natural flavors. So that can mean lots of things. It could be made in a lab. It could be made manufactured flavor. So I wasn't really happy to see that. But then it has blackberry leaves, and acacia berry puree in it. Puree. So I thought, oh, those flavors are going to be really good. So I'm going to give this a try. And it's caffeine free, which is what I like. And it's gluten free, which I need at this point in my life. So yeah, so it's really good. Acacia Mango Zinger. And sometimes I just want a really good tasting tea, which most of them are, but there's always like an herbal medicinal element to the teas that I drink. And I just wanted something that was really flavorful so that I wasn't, I wasn't just drinking water, like plain water, which is fine, but I need some flavor in my life sometimes. So I got this one, and it's very good. Again, I'd rather not have the artificial and natural flavors in it, which again can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily mean it's from the plant. It could just be a manufactured flavor. So, but this'll do. This is fun. Kind of a treat, I would say, to some of the other ones that I buy. They're all good, the ones I buy, but again, I'm usually using them for more medicinal type thing. And I often do peppermint tea, just plain peppermint tea, because I really love that. That's really refreshing. But sometimes I just want a different flavor, and this one has fruity flavors in it. Now it says zinger on it. Zinger, not zing. Well, maybe zinger. I thought maybe it would have ginger in it, but it does not have any ginger in it. So it's good. It's very, very good. Recommended. It's fairly inexpensive. So that's what I have drinking it today. All right, so the other thing I want to show you what I've kind of found fun to do. Okay, do you recognize this? What's this yellow flower? Dandelion. Dandelion leaves and roots in a water container here. And the reason I'm doing this container of dandelions, I bet you can't hear me so well because I have the microphone way far away. You want to see the microphone? There we go. So let me get this microphone a little bit closer. Okay, microphone's closer. Dandelion. So what happens is I'm in my garden, I'm getting things prepared, and I always come across dandelion, and I either throw it in the pile of weeds, and I feel bad about it because I know I can use it in some way. So what I've been doing is gathering those dandelions as I work, and they wilt as I go along in the garden. I try to keep them in a shady spot, but they wilt, and then they start to you know, you can see the roots starting to dry a little bit, which is good, but I still need to get the dirt off of them before I dry them. So what I discovered is that after being in the garden for a few hours, you know, these things are really wilty, not looking so happy. So I put them in water just to start soaking the dirt off. And what I found is that they perked up once they were put in water, which makes total sense. Uh, and then when I left them for a few days, they really perked up. And I was like, this is kind of a cool way to have fresh dandelions so they don't have to go outside, and it's going to stay nice and clean because it's not getting dirt splashed up on it. But when I'm ready, what I do is just take out one of these dandelions, and I'll get one out here. So here's a dandelion. It's dripping all over me. Here's a dandelion. Let's see what the camera is going to do for us. I know there's a black background, so here, oh, this way. There we go. So there is some dirt looking stuff on there. It's going on my computer now. Come on, camera. All right, so some of that black looking stuff on there is not dirt. Actually, it's just part of the bark of the root. And some of it will come off as you wash them. So what I usually do is take off these little tiny hairs. I'm trying to make it so it's not so weird. Everything's the opposite too. So there's these little hairs, and I use like a little brush that you would use to kind of wash off like potatoes or something, or even like some brush that you would use to get the dirt from under your nails. They're nice and small, and you can just brush off the dirt that way. And sometimes it's easy just to kind of pull off those little tiny rootlets on there that are on the main taproot. And after those get out of the way a little bit, sometimes it's easier to scrub them and get some of the dirt off. But they will look a bit, you know, dirty after a while because they're going to have that, there's like a protective bark layer on that root, which is dark brown to maybe even dirt colored looking. So I'm just going to rinse this off one more time. So there, so it's still got that darkish look to it. So then what I do is, when I want to keep the root part of it, I cut the root off, of course, with a knife. And these are actually pretty small dandelion roots, but that's okay. There we go. I think it's trying to autofocus. So once they're all nice and cleaned up, what I do is I chop them up, just, I don't know, half an inch or an inch or so, and then I put them in my dehydrator. And then they'll dry up really nice, and that's what I want. I want them to dry so that I can have these whenever I want, and I don't have to go out and dig them every single day if I want to make a tea out of them or a tea blend. And so you could certainly chop these up and add them to a stir fry. I wouldn't have a whole stir fry made of dandelion roots at all, but you know, like you would have potatoes in a hash browns or something like that. These, you add this to a stir fry just for a little bit of flavor. And I chop them up pretty good. Oh, good, my battery's running low. So anyways, then what I do is chop them up, dry them in the dehydrator, and they'll be ready. And I like this size actually for dehydrating because they dehydrate pretty fast. I don't have to wait. Okay, what's in my teacup part 2? Because my laptop battery died, I had to go get the thing to plug it in, which I usually have it plugged in when I'm doing a live, but hey, you know, forgot to do it. And then I spilt my tea. Not on the computer, so that's good. So anyway, I can start a new cup of tea. What's in my teacup? If you were already on, you know what's in my teacup, but I'll just show you again. Celestial Seasonings Acacia Mango Ginger. It's very good. It's got natural flavors in it, so I'm not real sure if it's just herbs or, you know, manufactured things in the labs. But anyway, I was showing you dandelion, and I was showing you the root. So let's see. Like I said, I just spilled my tea and had to plug in the laptop, and I wish this computer would stop autofocusing. So anyways, so yes, the dandelion root. You know, big roots are nice because it's kind of like you get more, you know, more root for the amount of work that you did, but at the same time, they dry a little slower and a little bit more inconsistently, because you'll have, here's the dandelion root, you'll have a little dandelion root there. So this root is much smaller than this one. So then you'll have to chop up this root here that's about the same size as here, or they won't dehydrate and dry at the same time. So this one is been in the water. If you saw last time, it's in this little thing here. Keeps it nice and fresh until I can get to it, because sometimes I can't get to it right away. Most of the dirt is coming off, but you see all these little tiny root hairs that are all off, like little hairs. I take those off because it's easy. It, you know, helps me get to the root. So I'm just pulling off the little ones that are like hairs. So dandelion is mainly a tap root, but you can see how sometimes it gets little offshoots. Tap roots are typically just like one main root, like a carrot, but they also sometimes get offshoots like this, which is fine. So what I would do then, like I showed a little bit ago in the other video, take off the top, cut off the top, and then I can clean it a little bit more because there's going to be dirt, you know, in there. And it does take a lot of water to clean these roots good, but I have found that soaking them helps a lot. So I'll rinse them off 1 or 2 times, put them in a little container of water, and then walk away for a day or two, depending on when I can get to it. So there it is. It does have a little bit of dirt on there still that needs to come off, but some of it's just like the bark of the dandelion root. So then this I'll chop up when I'm done cleaning it. And then I'm trying to make sure that when I chop everything up, the roots are about the same size so that some are not drying slower than others. So that's a dandelion root. You can put them in, chop them up small and add them to a stir fry. You could even take the leaves, clean them up, make sure they don't have any dirt on them. Clean them up like you would lettuce or something, and chop them up and add them to a salad as some flavor in there, some extra different vitamins that maybe the lettuce doesn't have, and just, you know, fun flavor. So let's say you had a cup of just regular, I don't know, romaine lettuce, iceberg lettuce. I'd probably just take 4 dandelion leaves maybe, chop them up pretty good, and then add them to it. So that would give it a nice bunch of flavor in there. And it's a bitter, so it's good for your digestive system. That is what herbalists like to say about dandelions, because that's what we know about the dandelion. Of course, smaller leaves are less bitter typically than bigger ones. And then there's this really cool crown that's part of the dandelion as well. So it's like, it's actually a compressed stem. And if you take the leaves off, and I've taken the root off, the root is no longer there. You kind of got to clean that up on the bottom. And so then you just have this little crown piece. And there are, you know, it can be a little tricky, but there's some dirt in there, but you just keep rinsing it and rinsing it. And there's even some buds in there. But if you like saute this or just boil it enough to make it soft and put some like a little bit of butter and salt on it, they're just really good. They got just a little bit of bitterness to them, but they're kind of, I don't know how to explain it, maybe sort of like asparagus, but with a little bit of bitterness to them. And I don't know, they're just kind of a delicacy in some ways. So yeah, it's just a little bit of that crown, and you got to clean it up real good because sometimes that dirt is in there. All right, what else can I tell you about this dandelion plant that's living in this water? The flowers, people do make fritters out of them. So you get your flowers, you probably want to rinse them off. See, make sure there's no little critters living on there. And then people make a batter of them and then fry them in some oil and then eat them that way. Some people dry them and then grind them up and then add them to batter. There's all sorts of things you can do. The whole dandelion plant is very nutritious. It has lots of vitamins and minerals in it. And it was brought over by the European immigrants because they didn't know what was over here to eat. They, especially the first few sets of people coming over here, so they would bring plants with them in the form of seeds, or maybe even pieces of the root that were dried that would be able to activate once they got here, because some roots can stay dormant, and then once you add water and soil to them and sun, then they sprout. So they would, yeah, bring those things over here and then plant them when they got here, so they knew what they could eat. And so, like I said, all parts of that dandelion were used. The root is typically made into a tea. It's very similar to coffee, kind of got that bitter, robust flavor to it. Not exactly the same, but it's kind of on that same flavor. So it was something that they would drink. And then chicory root is added to that too, and it really makes a really good, nice drink. So this is what they were using for vitamins, minerals, and also there's you know, medicinal-like qualities to them too, helping with kind of a bit of it like a detox, getting things moving in the GI system as well. So that's dandelion for you. The whole thing can be used. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It does take, you know, you have to clean it and rinse it quite a bit. But lettuce is that same way if you're growing it in the garden too. You got to rinse it quite a bit. And I think we're used to here in the United States having vegetables, lettuce, those type of things cleaned. But when they do harvest them, they're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 different rinses of them. There's a lot of water being used to clean our produce before it gets to us. So we can give it a try with these dandelions. So again, when I'm in the garden and I'm coming across these, and I did a huge garden redesign, and I was coming across a lot of dandelions, and I just kept them, and they would kind of look really sad by the time I was done gardening. Then I'd put them in some water on the counter for a while, and then they would perk up. So then I could work with them, because when a dandelion root kind of gets dried and starts shrinking within, you know, an hour of being out of the ground, it's not always easy to work, get the dirt off. Yeah, the dirt is dried on there, and you could brush it off, but some of it sticks to there, so then I just put it in water and just clean it up. The other thing I've been doing is adding like 4 or 5 dandelion leaves to my smoothie. Just grind it all up in there, makes it really small, and you don't taste it too much. Once in a while you come across a little piece of the leaf and it's bitter, but overall there's not too much flavor, and I get those nutrients in there with it too. So right now I have the Plant Priestess Circle membership is open for new participants right now, and soon I'll be doing the Green Witch Gardening series for the summer. I just did the spring series, and now I'm looking to do the summer series coming up in probably 3 weeks. So be looking for that. But the Plant Priestess Circle is a membership that I have, which has got a ton of stuff in it. If you go to the Plant Priestess Circle website, you will see a video, and it shows you all the things in there. But I do monthly lessons for people. For instance, once or twice a month I do a plant chat where I introduce a new herb for people, and it's like a 20-25 minute you know, presentation about the plant and what it looks like, how to use it, and all that kind of stuff. And then everything is in the Plant Priestess Circle site already recorded. So there's also lots of stuff in there. There's even medicinal trees and shrubs, how to harvest herbs, how to grow herbs. Then there's the priestess side of it, which is about nature spirituality and incorporating the seasons and what is happening in nature into your own life, the solstices and equinox celebrations that we have. So there's just a lot in there, and I have some really cool offers right now, free for about until 7 p.m. Central Standard Time if people join the Plant Priestess Circle, which is a yearly membership. They'll also get a free calendar. It's a round calendar with the moon phases on it and the seasons on there. And they'll also get a 15 to 45 minute one-to-one session with me where we can talk gardening, nature spirituality, herbal consultations, whatever. And just depending on what membership level you get depends on how much time you get. So those are some of the free offers that I'm having open for the Plant Priestess Circle membership, new members until 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. After that, those free offers won't be be there, but until May 22nd, people can still sign up for the Plant Priestess Circle. So check that out if you want. Thanks for joining in. Hope you learned a little bit about dandelion. And this was what's in my teacup. I'm drinking Acacia Mango Ginger Celestial Teas. Very easy to find in almost any grocery store there is. So thanks for joining in. Take care, everybody.